the Vault XL. This is a two-part live pertaining to arrests that have been made in connection to two individuals, a male and a female, who were dismembered on Long Island, New York. The second part of this live is pertaining to a Miss Harrington out of HOWINGTON, out of Knoxville, Tennessee, right here where the Queen is. She's been accused of murdering her then 5-year-old girl child. So we're going to chop up that set information. Enjoy this content. Like, share, subscribe. Drop your comments below. I also put up some polls pertaining to the said information when I am done with this live stream. And if you'd like to donate to this great network, $ begins you 129 Cash App, stickers and chats. Always welcome to the live stream. Two-part live, everybody. Here we go.
That were found scattered across Suffolk County. We've just learned the names of 4 people arrested in that case, now charged with concealment of a human corpse, tampering with physical evidence, hindering prosecution. The 2 men and 2 women are due in court in Central Islip this afternoon. The DA says bail reform laws mean they cannot ask the suspects to be held on bail on these charges. Eyewitness News reporter Crystal Cranmore has more on the investigation.
Why no bail? Weird.
Police rounded up those 4 individuals from this house right behind me, and while authorities say they did not find any human remains inside this home, they did find body parts about 5 miles from here. Police searched this home on Railroad Avenue in Amityville Monday night before taking 3 men and a woman into custody. It did not take long before police discovered remains at Bethpage State Park and a wooded area in West Babylon Tuesday morning. The West Babylon scene is about 3 miles from where authorities say a group of students found remains in Southard's Pond Park last Thursday. Suffolk County Police say all the body parts belong to a 53-year-old man and 59-year-old woman who at some point lived at the same address in Yonkers. Residents in West Babylon say they're on edge after the discoveries.
I am surprised. And I'm afraid too.
Knowing that it was on my street, makes you inquire about, what could be a possible motive.
Police are not yet identifying the victims until their family members have been notified. In Amityville, Crystal Cranmore, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, everybody, that's Channel 7. Very interesting information. Let's chop it up. West Babylon, Suffolk County, WABC News is the source. News 7, everybody. The 4 people arrested in connection with human remains found scattered across Long Island are out on supervised release. Why are they out on supervised release? What is this law pertaining to bail bond? Why are they United States citizens? What the hell's going on here? This is very strange. Once again, 4 people were arrested and they have been released. Stephen Brown, 44, Jeffrey Mackey, 38, Amanda Wallace, 40, all of Amityville, along with Alexis Neves, 33, who is homeless now, were all charged Wednesday with first-degree hindering prosecution, which is today, tampering with physical evidence, concealment of a human corpse. Once again, they are all charged with first-degree hindering prosecution, tampering with physical evidence, and concealment of a corpse. Will it be upgraded to homicide? We'll wait to see. They have not been charged with the killing of the 2 victims, which means they are free to go until their next court appearance or until they face more charges while authorities gather more evidence. The 4 defendants were arrested after police executed a search warrant at the Amityville home that Wallace, Mackey, and Brown share. So we have 3 people living together, Wallace, Mackey, and Brown. I'm going to go over to another article and bring you those ages because they're not listed here in this article. A prosecutor described the evidence at the house, including cutting tools like a meat cleaver, traces of human remains. What exactly? Where exactly? Just curious, but did not say who killed or dismembered the 2 victims or why. The charges come after more body parts were discovered on Tuesday, which was yesterday, including in Bethpage State Park. So we're now talking about different locations, okay? There have now been human remains discovered in 3 different locations across Suffolk County, and police say they belong to the same 53-year-old man and 59-year-old woman. Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney released a statement blaming the state's bail reform laws for the suspect's release. Exactly. Unfortunately, due to the bail reform passed by the New York State legislature in 2019, Charges relating to the mutilation and disposal of murdered corpses are no longer bail eligible, meaning my prosecutors cannot ask for bail. This is yet another absurd result thanks to bail reform and a system where the legislature in Albany substitutes their judgment for the judgment of our judges and the litigants in court. He vowed to work with the Suffolk County Police Department to resolve this investigation as soon as possible and implore our legislator to make more common sense fixes to this law. All 4 suspects are getting monitoring bracelets and have been ordered to stay in Suffolk County. They all made court appearances and had to surrender any passports as a condition of their supervised release. Yeah, right. Okay. Did they have passports, I wonder? The suspects are free to go, but can't go back to their Amityville apartment due to the inoperable plumbing. Wow, imagine that. Some of the plumbing was removed during the police investigation. Well, now, Suffolk County Executive Ed Romaine also released a statement outraged that the suspects were not being held. The failure of Albany's bail laws has resulted in those charged with dismembering and placing body parts in our communities to walk free without posting any bail. Romaine said this is outrageous, completely unacceptable in a civilized society when our prosecutors are handcuffed and those charged with this heinous crime are mandated by the state to go free. He called for the laws to be changed immediately and said he will support any efforts to force change in Albany. Lawyers for the suspects said they look forward to hearing from witnesses and seeing evidence. Okay. Anyway, Mackey's defense attorney, John Harvison, said, "We are entering a plea of not guilty. We have not received any discovery at this point. We maintain our innocence." Brown's attorney, Ira Weissman, said, "Stephen Brown didn't kill anybody," quote unquote. You hear him talk about the blood in a house, but you don't hear about witnesses. So that's all I gather about today's proceedings. Said. The 2 victims may have lived together in Yonkers and their deaths might stem from a domestic dispute. Let's repeat that again. The 2 victims may have lived together in Yonkers and their deaths might stem from a domestic dispute. Police have not publicly identified the victims and their relationship to the suspects. It's still a mystery. So I do believe this may be what is suspected by authorities. I'm not going to say me, but what they're suspecting is domesticated jealousy triangle. We're going to go over to this other article and gather what all this actually means, because this is some bizarre wranglings going on here. What's baffling is that you have one person who is a female who's homeless. So you think this person is going to come back to court? Think about what you're saying now. You have a bail bond law that lets people walk around who chopped up people, abused a corpse, whatsoever, walk free with an ankle bracelet, which we know you can cut those off. They're not made of metal. It's not like they're handcuffs, made of metal. So you can cut them off and go run somewhere. They can't go back to their home. So that means they have to have somewhere to live. Is somebody not paying attention to the information at hand? I understand there's a law, but think about the law versus what these people have been accused of. And one's homeless. And even if you're not homeless or maybe got somewhere to stay, you might just want to go on the run as not to be charged with murder. This is some jacked up stuff here. This is bad, baby. This is bad. Because now we got to figure out who killed whom. And what do these 3, 4, or whomever have to do with the 2 that are deceased? And why are you cutting up body parts if you didn't unalive them? Because usually it kind of goes together. Unalive a person, discard the person. So now we're talking about unaliving, dismembering, and discarding in several locations. This is so jacked up. Lord have mercy. Thank you all so much for joining me. All right, let's go over now to NBC News. ABC 7 is the last source. We're going to just give you another recap because each article has something different. So that's why I'm bringing you another article. Got 15 in the house. Thank you so much. 4 people have been arrested in connection with the body parts found in 3 locations across Long Island, New York, according to the Suffolk County Police Department. The 4 suspects are Stephen Brown, Jeffrey Mackey, Amanda Wallace, Alexis Nees. Alexis Nees is homeless, remember that, and also the youngest of the group. All pleaded not guilty in court Wednesday to concealment of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, and hindering prosecution. They were released with GPS monitors in order on orders to remain in Suffolk County and report to probation. officers weekly. So let's go there. Are they going to run? Are they going to report? Where are they going to stay? As I just brought you information from ABC7, the three can't go back to where they were living because of the plumbing. Police going in, checking the plumbing and investigating. So where are those three going to live? Where's the homeless person going to live? Miss, let me get her name. Alexis Nees. I believe she's 33 years of age. Why was she living with them? Why are so many people living in a house together? I'm just asking all the questions. Prosecutors told NBC New York evidence is very strong and includes cutting tools, meat cleavers, video surveillance. The defense lawyer for Brown told NBC New York his client did not kill anyone, did not take part in any of this. Mackey maintains his innocence according to defense lawyer. Well, let's just keep it real. If blood and remains were found inside of this home apartment, you've got to prove you didn't have anything to do with it. Okay? You got to say what? I wasn't there when the person got hacked up or brought here, or because now we got to ask ourselves, where did the two people die? The lady and the man. Did they die in Yonkers? Did they die somewhere else in Suffolk County? Were they in this house with all these people? What the hell really happened? We'll get to the bottom of it, everybody. All right. Thank you for joining me. Once again, the lawyer for Mr. Brown says he is maintaining his innocence. He didn't kill anybody. Information on attorneys for Wallace and Nees was not immediately available, but that might have to recap back on that last article if you need to verify. Three of the suspects, Brown, Mackey, Wallace, lived at the home on Railroad Avenue in Amityville that investigators searched on Monday, everybody. Nees does not have a known address. This is a homeless lady, according to police, but the court hearing indicated he lived with the three suspects. I thought that was a she. Oh, Lord, what are we talking about? Come on now. Alexis is a guy. I stand corrected. I thought it was a female. Okay. I don't know what's going on here. This sounds like some mess already. Because I thought this was a woman. This ain't good. When did we name guys Alexis? Help me understand. I don't know. The arrest comes a day after the Suffolk County Police Department announced their investigation into three locations: Amityville home, wooded area across from Lakeway Drive in West Babylon, and Bethpage State Park in Farmingdale. Additional human remains were found Tuesday in Farmingdale and West Babylon, Suffolk County Police said in a news release. None were found Monday during a search of the home in Amityville. Repeat, no human body parts were found at the Amityville location that was searched by law officials. The first body parts were discovered Thursday morning after a student walking to school. This was last week. Severed left arm at Salvage Pond Park. Cadaver dog discovered a leg and another arm in the area. A head, parts of a leg, and a third arm were recovered later. Investigators believe the body parts found last week and the human remains discovered Tuesday are those of the same victims. One of the victims, a 59-year-old woman, has been identified. Police said her name is being held until relatives are notified. The other victim, 53-year-old man, has been tentatively identified. Excuse me. Their last known address was the same location in Yonkers. However, it's unclear when they last resided there, police said in the news release. So I found that interesting. They don't have information on when the victims last lived at this address in Yonkers. So were they staying with these people in Amityville and some SHIT jumped off? Stay woke. Two sources familiar with the matter told NBC New York Tuesday that the investigators were looking into whether a love triangle was the motive. The suspect allegedly chopped up his girlfriend, oh Lordy, and the man he believes she cheated with, the two sources. So one of the men at the house in Amityville unalived or dismembered the girlfriend and the man she cheated with. So assuming these are the two victims that were found, body parts in the park, where were they staying? That's what I'm trying to get information on. Thank you all so much for joining me. Hello, everybody in the chat. Repeat. Suspect allegedly chopped up the girlfriend and the man she cheated with, two sources said. So who are the people who are talking to tell this? The people who were arrested that were in the house and abuse of the corpse, are those our eyewitnesses? It was not immediately clear whether other people helped the killer dispose of the body parts. Exactly. How many people knew about it, how many people helped, and how many people disposed of the two people? Although the 4 suspects are out on supervised release, they are not bail eligible due to the New York State legislators' bail reform passed in 2019, according to Suffolk County District Attorney Raymond Tierney. Charges relating to the mutilation and disposal of murder corpses are no longer bail eligible. Meaning my prosecutors cannot ask for the bail, Tierney said in a statement. This is yet another absurd result thanks to bail reform and a system where the legislator in Albany substitutes their judgment for the judgment of our judges and the litigants in court. We will work with Suffolk County Police Department to resolve this investigation as soon as possible and implore our legislator to make common sense to fix the law. The investigation is ongoing. Police said the case appears to be an isolated incident with no threat to the public. Hello, everybody in the chat. This is what I had said before when I brought you this information days ago. I said, what if this is not a gang-related M1613 nonsense? What if this is somebody living right there in the neighborhood, in some neighborhood over here, over there? It was a dispute. It was greed. It was whatever. It ain't got nothing to do with no gangs. We're talking about older people. The victims are middle-aged, okay? 50 plus, almost 60. So as soon as I heard the ages, I said, I don't think this is gang-related. I said, let's see some old gangbangers. So you hear domestic dispute. Okay, so what are the authorities trying to tell us? 2 people got into it. One shot one. Then what? Shot themselves, and then the people were stuck in the house with them looking around saying, oh, what are we going to do? Well, let's go chop them up and throw them in parks because we don't want to be involved. Or, as this article says, or the last one, the guy got upset that the girlfriend was dating somebody else and he mutilated them. But that would lead me to believe he also had to unalive them. Because why are these other people arrested? And 3 live together. So this is where this makes no sense. 3 are living together. 3 got arrest records. But you got the 2 victims living allegedly somewhere in La La Land. They haven't really said where they live. They just said they lived in Yonkers at one time. But they're not definitively saying when they lived in Yonkers. So now you got to ask the question, who's on first, who's on second? How did these people get together? Did this all take place in one home? Did the unaliving of the 2 victims take place in Amityville, number 1, in that apartment? Number 2, why would they all be in the same house together with somebody who the woman would have moved on from? This is very confusing. I don't know what's going on. It's odd. But like I always said, you can't believe everything you hear on TV about, he said, she said, we think this happened, blah, 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 because you see News Nation was bringing forward this gang-related BS, and so far, nothing I've read to you has mentioned anything about gang affiliation. This is why I said the other night when I went live, what if this isn't about gangs? What if this is about some random people, random person, unalived person, 2, and then walked around in the community or drove and just dumped off body parts? Because we know that when you are dismembering a human, you have to have somewhere quiet and uninterrupted to do the deed, ×2. So that means you did it in a house, in a shed, in a barn, a garage, and then you took those parts out in something and disposed of them, okay? Just saying. So what do these people have to do with it, the people in the house? They were living there, they witnessed a crime. What? Because what would be strange to me if this is domesticated, okay, you got 3 living in one address, Amityville. Whoever lives in that house in Amityville, unalive the ex-girlfriend and her man. So how the hell did they get into the Amityville house to be dismembered, or let's just say unalive, then dismembered, or brought there, dismembered, then taken to these area parks and discarded. This is bizarre. What is really going on? NBC News is the source of this information. And they are all walking around free. There is no bail. They're on pretrial release. They're walking around. All because of this new New York law about bail reform. And I think it's jacked up. Because let's look at what's going on in our country with migrants, and migrants jumping off and acting crazy in New York and beating up the police and being released from prison, from jail, then allegedly rearrested. I don't know what the hell's going on. This is adding more fuel to the fire up in New York. You already got a crazy migrant situation, migrants beating up the law, nowhere to house the people. Then you go over here to another location, 4 people walking around free, and they have hacked up somebody. And I'm going to use better judgment. Somebody in that 3 or 4 unalive 2 people. How about that? Why would I think they just found these bodies and said, oh, I think I want to dismember them. Come on, Bobby. Come on, Sue, help me. You understand what I'm saying? Why am I going to cut you up? It's just like walking outside right now. You go to the stop sign, you see somebody lying down on the ground. You going to go haul the body off and go chop it up? I don't think so. You'd only chop up the body, like always, because you know the victims. You can be linked to the victims. That's why he did it. This male rather, killed the girlfriend, killed her lover. But now we have to ask, did it take place in Amityville in that apartment, number 1? Who was in the apartment when it jumped off? So I'm going to assume the murder took place there, perhaps, or no? If so, who was all in the apartment? Did anybody else help? Did they get beat to death, shot? What do we say? Because this is where this doesn't make any sense. You already got 3 people living in a house. The 2 that are dead, they can't even decide when they last lived in Yonkers. So were they also living in the same house? That wouldn't make any sense. Why would I be living in a house with my ex-boyfriend, with my new boyfriend? But we have seen strange things go on in relationships. Thank you very much. Wow. All right, everybody. When I get more information, I'll bring you that update. 2 sources, NBC News and ABC 7 New York. Let's go over here to my part of the world, Knoxville, Tennessee. Try to bring you, I was going to bring some more goodies. I'm going to bring you a recap of everything that's happened pertaining to Miss HOWINGTON. Very bizarre story. I stayed up very late this morning watching this nonsense, in and out of sleep, pertaining to the allegations against this lady. It's just a bunch of BS. She's changed her story numerous times at the beginning of interrogation pertaining to the death of her daughter, shooting of her daughter, 5-year-old at the time of death. She's put the storyline over here, 3 different versions during interrogation of about 2 days or so. What really happened inside of that house in Fountain City? We will see. Updated March 5th, 2024, everybody. Channel 10 News is the source. As the minutes and then hours ticked by, Robin HOWINGTON told lie after lie about what happened to her 5-year-old daughter the night of September 14, 2019. In an early version of her story, she told Knoxville Police Department investigators when questioned that the child's father had barged into her Fountain City home, fired a gunshot, perhaps an attempt to scare her, Ms. Hamilton. Destiny Oliver was lying on the couch watching Netflix when a bullet hit her. At first sympathetic to her, KPD's Tim Riddle and Brandon Wardlaw changed their stance as they began to see that what she was claiming simply failed to add up. She lied about the gun, the sequence of events before the shooting, and especially about what she did, court testimony showed Tuesday. Then she switched to telling that her 2-year-old son had retrieved the pistol from a closet, fired the weapon perhaps in defense of his mother. And then when police began poking holes in that tale, she finally switched during another sit-down interview days later to insist that the victim's father had come over to the house. She got in the gun, she turned on him, they tussled, and in their struggle for the weapon, it went off, fatally striking her daughter in the chest. Court testimony showed Tuesday that version at least seemed consistent with some of what they learned about her relationship with the child's father, including a prior confrontation she had with him when she pulled the gun on him outside her Boston Drive house. What's really the truth? Perhaps only Harrington 41 knows for sure. The father hasn't been charged. Tuesday marked the second day of Harrington's trial on charges that include felony murder, evidence tampering, and aggravated child neglect. She is free on bond. Many of you are questioning why she's free. That's because originally her charge was tampering with evidence. So she bonded out, naturally a lower bond. Then later came the murder. So, she was already free. Okay. It's ultimately up to Knox County jurors to decide what they believe. They'll also have the option of picking a lesser form of homicide if they can't agree she's guilty of felony murder. And that's probably going to be a problem for some. Again and again, she misled investigators and told falsehoods in an interview after Destiny died from the single gunshot wound to her chest. Destiny also suffered a hand wound from the gunshot, and the bullet appeared to damage the TV remote, court testimony showed Tuesday. So was the child holding the remote when she was shot? Because this is what I was puzzled by. They asked her, did you shoot the child more than once? Or was she shot more than once? Of course, she's denied killing the kid. Only heard one gunshot. She's allegedly on the couch at the time, she and the other boy child. So I could see you putting your hand up to defend yourself, and that's how you get shot in your hand and then shot in your chest. But now we're talking about hand, remote, and chest. So what? The little girl was lying down like this on her side holding the remote, and then the person at point blank range shot the child. Dissect it out, everybody. Once again, Destiny also suffered a hand wound from the gunshot. The bullet appeared to damage a TV remote. Court testimony showed Tuesday. Security camera video from a neighbor helped police build a framework about what happened that night. Once they started comparing it along with its time codes to Howington's story, they were able to refute fact after fact. For one, it showed her getting rid of the gun immediately after Destiny was shot. She tried to hide it under a bush by the house, something she at first denied. Investigators also went back to her house after questioning her to check her claim that her son had used a stool to reach up into the bedroom closet to get the pistol. It didn't add up. You can see that play out in court. The investigators, DHS office staff, all went back to the house to see the reenactment of this, one of the versions of the child getting on the stool. But when you first walk into the house, there's two stools sitting over by this little bitty table. So then you're thinking to yourself, well, did she put the stool back? But then in another frame, you see a stool in the room. But that might be when they went and, took the stool in there to do the reenactment. I don't know. Got a lot of questions. Here we go. Once again, the child allegedly used the stool to reach up in the bedroom to get the pistol, but it didn't add up in the eyes of the investigators. You keep telling me it's the 2-year-old boy, Wardlaw said. It can't be the 2-year-old. Riddle told her he learned that she pulled the gun on Destiny's father during an argument 2 days prior to the homicide, during which he'd taken the gun away from her. And this allegedly took place outside where there was an eyewitness. I don't really know what the hell's going on with this story. I don't know if it was days ago, that day they had an argument, her and the baby daddy. It's very strange. About two things Hamilton was insistent. The first being, I did not kill my baby. She also said multiple times that her daughter never would have been shot if the girl's father hadn't come over to the house that night. And you'll hear that in the interrogation. Franklin Ammons and Ashley McDermott are prosecuting the case. Defense attorney Mike Whalen will cross-examine investigator Riddle on Wednesday morning in Knox County Criminal Court. Judge Scott Green is presiding over the trial. 10 News is the source. Let's get a recap of this nonsense pertaining to Ms. Howington. Thank you all for joining me. Got a few of you in the room. Thanks for joining me. It's a very vicious story. Did she kill her daughter? I got a theory, and I want to try it out on you guys here in a second. Hold on. Oh, Lord. My story didn't jump off. Well, hold on one second, you guys. I'll pull it back up. If the son didn't do it, a 2-year-old, too short to reach up and get the gun off that out that closet, I believe that's where they're taking that information. They took the stool into that closet and realized probably he was too little to go reach up there. Then what are we talking about here? Baby daddy didn't do it. Will he testify? Boyfriend at the time, will he testify? Will a neighbor testify to seeing them fighting that day or days before? They already had the guy who she messaged, guy who bought pills from her. He testified how he came to know her and his relationship with Robin, which she kind of downplayed him as the go-to guy to do things for her. It's not saying that he didn't do things for her, such as, hang up blinds or something like that. But, naturally, it's souped up right now that he was a guy that bought pills from her for his mother. Now, I think that's interesting. Were they really for his mother or were they for him? Just curious. I can't get this article to load up for some reason. It's having difficulties. I don't know what's going on. So she's given 3 different versions. First, it was an unidentified black guy that did it. Okay? Just walked in, shot her kid, left out in a 300, black 300. Everything about the storyline is black, 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 black. Obviously, she likes black men. She has biracial children. She has a set of 3 kids. One's deceased. That's the one she's accused of murdering. Destiny Oliver, 5 years of age at the time, September 14, 2019. Father had one of the other boy children that she didn't have in custody at the time when this murder transpired. You know what I'm saying? Volatile relationship with the baby daddy. No evidence is showing he killed the child. No evidence showing the boyfriend did it. Last resort, her version is that the son did it, the 2-year-old. Make it make sense. Why would your child shoot you? Shoot his sister, if your life was being threatened. And naturally, we know a child can't aim properly to shoot a person. So role play that out. A child, toddler, very small, walking with a gun and trying to shoot the perpetrator that's beating up the mother, hurting the mother, but instead he shoots his sister. But yet the sister's lying over here. Either her head's on a sofa rest or her head's in the mother's lap or toward the mother's lap. I'm kind of confused. This is how I look at life. I got to see, not pictures, but just show me a visual of where the little girl was lying. Because right now, the mother, you can't get the truth out of her. And what you always have to remember about a story, a version. When a person starts to spin the story of what happened, when he or she decides to change it up, they only change it up it's because what you have brought back to refute what they have said, then they have to find another version. Would it have just been easier to say the child shot his sister? This is why you know she's a dummy. She doesn't have any common sense. That would be the easiest suspect to blame. She's gone all around the mulberry bush of unidentified black man. Then it was the baby daddy. Then it was the son. And then there's a black guy sitting there behind her in court, you can see the top of his head in the pictures. Is this the boyfriend that's supporting her still? Probably. Because, you know, she didn't go into jail on the murder charge because she was already free on the tampering with evidence. She bonded out on that charge, tampering with evidence. That's why a lot of people are commenting below videos. Well, how is she free? How is she free? Because she was only charged originally with tampering with evidence, and that was putting that gun out there in the bush. Call that white dude who buys pills from her to go get it. He declined not to be involved. She also asked the woman in the bathroom at the hospital to take her phone. She ran water on it. The gun was also wet. See, this is where you know she has to have involvement because, one, you're the only person coming out of the house at the time this crime has transpired. Thank God neighbors had cameras. Imagine had the neighbors not had cameras. The police wouldn't know, you know, which way to take this story. That's what puts her at the crime scene, those cameras. Her pulling up with the kids, coming out to get her purse allegedly, going back in. Somebody's already sitting at the house in a car. They don't know who that person is. He goes in for under 1 minute, comes back out. Then minutes later, she's coming out, putting a gun around the side of the house, going back in, and then ambulance people are coming, and police, and so on and so forth. So who's the guy who was in the car when she pulled up? She spins this story that she thinks she was followed from a park in Carnes, blah, blah, blah. They ask her why she go way out there to a park. She says it was a nicer facility, blah, blah, blah. Who's to say she wasn't building this up to knock that kid off? Let me give you my theory of what I think happened with Miss Robin, this dirty-ass blonde. Yeah, she's dirty. I think she got tired of the baby daddy coming around, popping up, invading her privacy, worrying about who she's sleeping with. He's calling her nasty names, talking to her friend like a dog, talking to her like a dog, making nasty comments about. He's got pictures of her giving him oral sex, blah, 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 blah. Just gutter ratchet trash, okay? That's where I'm seeing this. He's telling the new boyfriend she's a whore, she's this, you know, all this type of nasty talk. She was tired of that. She's also been assaulted by a police officer sexually. You keep hearing that during interrogation. It was wearing me thin. Yeah, the cop goes off, the detective, letting her know she's self-absorbed. She only seems to care about herself. That's how I know she deliberately killed this kid. So you have to listen at everything to get to the bottom of the truth. And what did I always tell you? The truth is at the beginning of the story, not the middle, not the end. You went from unidentified black man, baby daddy, your 2-year-old. What's missing from that? She's pointing the finger at everybody that had access to her home, her circle, except for self. Like I said, wouldn't it be easier to blame the kid first? Because nobody's going to lock up a 2-year-old. 2-year-old's not going to get arrested. That should have been the first person you put the blame on, was the kid. Now, some would say, maybe the kid did shoot the sister by mistake. Maybe. But wouldn't it be easier to just tell the truth? First time. Hey, my baby went and got a gun. He shot the baby daddy of my other child. You would say that out off the rip. All this talking in circles like somebody else is involved, you're covering for somebody. She was covering for thyself. I think she got tired of dealing with the baby daddy. The daughter was the common link between she and the father. I get rid of the kid, I don't have to keep dealing with this abuse. I don't have to worry about him showing up. I don't have to worry about him calling me, texting me. I don't have to worry about him watching me, stalking me. She's the common denominator, the baby. No more kid, no more nasty baby daddy. Got a new boyfriend. I'm trying to talk to him. I'm trying to get in with him. This baby daddy's in the way. Hello, darling. Thank you so much. That's what I think. I think she either planned it that day, that she was tired and fed up. She's already not raising one son. We learned that during testimony. She had another son that she's not raising. Don't know how often she saw him at the time that the baby died, the 5-year-old died. So she had a lot going on. She had a lawsuit or something against a fellow police officer up the road that allegedly assaulted her. Don't know all the circumstances in that, but that kept being brought up during interrogation. I got PTSD. I got PTSD. You'll hear her defense going on and on about that today. But like that cop told her, that's all you're talking about is yourself, self-preservation. Worrying about getting charged with drugs. Worrying about getting charged with the gun in your house. So see, this is what makes no damn sense. Why are you worrying about the gun charge? Why are you worrying about anything else besides the death of your kid? You're acting like they're there for something else. If you didn't know any better, if you watched interrogation, you wouldn't even think they were talking about a dead kid. You wouldn't even think her child was murdered. You think she just got caught with a gun and some drugs, and that's why she don't want to talk. Like she's covering for somebody else, like it's somebody else's drugs. Let her tell her she keeps herself, she don't bother nobody. But what makes no sense is you can't act like you got PTSD, you fear men, this and that, but you're selling drugs and narcotics. Did it not occur to you that somebody could go tell on you, get arrested? They send them to your house, set you up. Who do you think is going to arrest you? A woman cop? And if you're so fearful of men, you're in a closed up space, why not ask for a woman detective? See, Queen pays attention to everything. That's why I stayed up late, because I wanted to get down to the bottom of this bullshit. And this is bullshit. I always tell myself, pay attention to the details. Pay attention to the evidence. So will they have, stippling on the hands? Did she have any residue on her hands? Did the baby have residue on his hands? Number 1, 2. Blood splatter on the boy child, blood splatter on her. Why are you taking a gun outside to hide if your baby did the shooting? He's a child. All you have to do is call 911. My baby found a gun. Oh, that's right, I forgot. That's all you're concerned about is a gun charge and marijuana charge or whatever drugs they found. They told you they weren't concerned with that. We're only concerned about your baby. So then we got the defense today going on and on and on, trying to go on and on about her PTSD, trying to make the detective seem like he's insensitive, that he don't know how to talk and deal with people who have been assaulted. But like he told that lawyer, I'm trying to investigate a homicide. I'm not saying that what happened to her with that cop wasn't a bad thing. But at that moment, I'm trying to get to the bottom of who killed her kid. Exactly. Exactly. And that's the point. You can't use the PTSD and whatever else you want to bring up in your past, and they're trying to figure out who killed your kid. They're trying to hear your version. That's their job. So it doesn't matter that your mother got, died of cancer 5 days ago. Not saying, to be mean, but you understand where I'm going. Everybody has something going on. But not everybody is also being brought into an interrogation room to talk about their dead kid either. Okay, mommy could have died 5 months ago. Daddy could have died 5 years ago. Best friend could have got hit by a truck 2 weeks ago. But right now you're in the interrogation room to discuss your baby's murder. And all you're talking about, I don't want to get in no trouble. I don't want to say nothing. And then she used the word S-H-I-T, like, oh, S-H-I-T. It was just stupid the way she said that. Like, oh, S-H-I-T. But that's not something that seems like you would even say when your child has been shot. That sounds like something you come out and see your car vandalized. Somebody egged your windows. You don't say, oh, shit. Your baby's been murdered in front of you. So see, the different versions show me she's complicit. Because you're blaming imaginary people, then you're blaming the baby daddy who's volatile of that girl child, then you took it there to your 2-year-old. So my mind had to reflect, why is she mentioning all these people? Because she did it. Now you got to say, what's the motive? And I always tell myself, never question the motive, because the motive is irrelevant. It's always irrelevant. But this is why Explain that to people dealing with the Summer Wells case. You're always trying to figure out why. You don't have a receipt to nothing. Because don't you get it? It doesn't fucking matter. The why doesn't matter. Because if you don't have a killer's mind, you're not the type to murder a child just because, then you can't understand. The motive doesn't matter. I did it because I could. I did it because I don't want to be bothered anymore. I did it because I don't want this kid. This kid's causing me problems. Checkmate. This is why people unalive their children. Don't want them, don't want to be bothered. Abused, somebody's abused them, somebody didn't hurt them, they want to cover them up, they want to stay with that mate. Does it make sense to you? Of course not. It's not supposed to. And I even found myself questioning this dizzy broad this morning, saying, why would she have killed this baby? And I had to check myself. Queen, you know you say this and call this shit out all the time. She did it because she wanted to get rid of the kid. She's the problem with her. Now, they can bring us proof that that little boy shot the sister by mistake. I'll gladly go over the evidence in court. But the detectives had to have seen something at the house, outside of the house, eyewitness testimonies, talking to the baby daddy, talking to the boyfriend, talking to Pookie, Ray Ray, whomever, to say, nah, all roads lead back to Robin. Too worried about drug sales on her phone than worried about solving the case of her dead kid. But think about it. If I shot the kid, it ain't nothing to solve. In my book, because I know I killed my kid. You gotta solve it. I ain't about to sit here and tell you I murdered my kid. And naturally, she tells the detective, what do you think? I would kill my baby? I love my baby. We with each other all the time. Blah, 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 blah. That don't mean nothing. You know how many times we've seen children who are all dolled up with hair ribbons and hair bows and bobby socks and patent leather shoes. They get abused by their mother, their father. They get abused by their parents, guardians, brothers, sisters. Parents know all about it. What's your point? What's your point? She was with you all the time. For all I know, you set that whole evening up to look like a caring parent. Who's to say your mind wasn't in rotation after the altercation with the baby daddy days ago, if it actually happened days ago, and you decided on that fateful day, I'm sick of this kid, or I'm sick of dealing with the daddy, the daughter's just going to be collateral damage. And you probably in your sick mind, Robin said that I love my kid, but the more I have her in my custody, I got to keep dealing with this Negro for how many more years? And let me tell you, if I didn't know any better, I believe Robin thinks she's black. I'm just saying. You sitting there looking at a white woman with blonde hair in an interrogation room, but if you scratch the screen and put it on black, gray, you thought there was a black woman in there talking. Very ethnic speaking. But you know that's a stereotype. All black people don't talk the same, but you get where I'm going. She had an urban voice, let's say. Urban demeanor. Very cold, stoic for somebody whose child was just shot in the chest. And if I didn't know any better, maybe she was shot more than once because the cops did ask her, well, are you sure it was only one time? Maybe twice. Oh, no. No, it was just once. And like they told her, who's going to just open your door and shoot a 5-year-old for what? Hell, you the one selling the dope. And he laid it out perfectly. You the one selling the dope. So if somebody wanted to come here for nefarious reasons for murder, they would be shooting you, they would be robbing you, and then poof, woof, out the door, not trying to kill your kid. Ain't nobody there. Kids can't point me out, probably. They're children. Well, the 5-year-old could, give a visual, but the little boy, probably not. He'd have to have a damn good memory to remember who came in there and shot whomever if he lived. She did this. She did this. She did this. And I believe it's because she wanted to be done with the baby daddy. The daughter was collateral damage. She's the common denominator between all three. She's the link. Without her, she's gone. I don't got to deal with this black man anymore. I can move on. I can date this guy. I can live happily ever after. And I can tell you, when you watch the court proceedings, there's some black guy sitting behind her in court, and I'm looking at him thinking, let me guess, you're that boyfriend from way back when the daughter was murdered, the one that was tussling with the daddy. They talk about that in court. Boyfriend, baby daddy tussling, but it's not really violent. I think she saw killing her kid as a way out to get rid of the baby daddy. Can't kill the baby daddy because I'll probably go to prison. They'll look at me. But I kill this kid, he'll be out the picture. Now, she's got another older child. I can't remember if he's the baby daddy or some other dude. I'll have to go back and rewatch to bring you that information about who her older boy child's father is. I couldn't remember if it was this same baby daddy or not. Hello, everybody in the chat. Hello, Pinto. Thank you. Pinto says, I believe she did it. No doubt. Okay. Tell me why. Tell me why you think that, Pinto, that she's the culprit. And tell me why you think she killed the kid. Tell the queen why. Let me try to find another news broadcast that's playing this information. Hold on. That's the latest I got on this Miss Howington. Oh, thank you. Thank you, VR. Thank you. Thank you all so much for following the content. 2-part live, everybody. More body parts found in Long Island. 4 people arrested. They're on pretrial release. Ankle monitors. It's not good.
She was suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder for about 18 months, medically treated. And the police go through her purse at the end of the interview and ask her what every one of them's for, and that's what they were. She tells them that she's been raped and she's nervous speaking in a room with 2 male police officers. There's a female police officer right out in the hallway. They don't offer to bring a female in.
Well, she should have asked.
Sit there and talk to her, and when she says she's been raped, Mr. Bill there loses his mind. He jumps up and starts yelling and screaming, "Are you kidding? That's what you're concerned about? Your daughter's dead." Now, how do you think that helps with PTSD?
Let's give you the charges against Ms. Howington. 1st-degree felony murder. 2 counts of aggravated child neglect, because there were 2 children in the house. False report to law enforcement. Those are the charges against Robin Howington. Caucasian female right here in Knoxville, Tennessee. She is obviously free on bond. You'll see her manicured nails, but she looks bad right here. Puffy eyes, hair shorter. She's much heavier than she was when she first got arrested back 4.5 years ago, back in 2019. But she's free on bond. Should she be free? You're entitled to your opinion.
This is the interview room that we're in. That's about an hour into it when they're talking to her. They keep telling her she blamed it on the baby's dad. You're gonna hear about the end of this. The first person in that interview room who mentions the baby dad is his partner, Mr. Ward. What about him? He can't be happy that you got this baby trying a relationship with him, but you got this other boyfriend. And then they start talking about all kinds of problems that they treated. And they start talking about, we got to think this might be a domestic. And then Mr. Wardlaw says, I'll tell you what, I'm going to shoot straight with it. I believe the baby dad did. I think he's mad because you got another boyfriend now. I think he came in, he just shot that dog, he was your daughter. He might have just been trying to scare you. Red Bear says, Mr. Hammer says, I think he's right. He hit it right on the nail.
This defense attorney for Robin, he's doing his best to try to, break down the interrogation by the two men, a white detective and a black detective. But in the end, that's their job to be a little rough with you when they see you are not being forthright. That's why they let her know, we're going to read you your rights. Okay? You can talk, not talk. We just want to know what happened to your kid. She didn't have to talk to the police. That's your constitutional right, not to say anything to incriminate yourself. Doesn't mean that you're guilty, not guilty. Everything's about interpretation, of course. But if you already know what happened, you knew what happened in that house, you also know that you're the culprit, probably wouldn't make any sense to speak to law enforcement, number one. Number two, if you knew that somebody else did it and you had no plans on telling who that other person is, I wouldn't talk without an attorney. Say, well, now whether she talked or not, I still believe they would have arrested her with tampering with evidence because there was a video camera showing her going outside, the only one coming out of the house. Make it make sense. Do you understand? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. You're the only one coming out of the house. Nobody else is coming in. Now, they also show that there was traffic going in and out of her house, and more than likely, that's probably because of the drug sales at her house. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't know. I can't even get my commentary out with all these stupid comments. But we know how to get rid of it. How about that? That's how I'm doing. Traffic going in and out of the house because she sells pills. Somebody was sitting in the car when she and the two children got home. That person walks in the house shortly after they go in, and then they're right back out. Okay? So one could say, oh, the person that came in, shot her, left. So what? Did she hire somebody to shoot her baby? And then she played the role, took the gun outside, came back in, waited, called the police. Say what? Through the walls. What are you talking about? Oh, Lord. Anyway, let's finish Students Defense Society. Thank you.
He did it. You've known it's a domestic all along. They asked her, do you think he's capable of doing that? It wasn't him, I promise. And they stay on. It's him, it's him, it's him. She probably...
Evidence tampering, attempted evidence tampering. That's messing with the gun, wiping the gun, wetting the gun, and putting the gun outside, calling one of her homeboys, clients to come get the gun. He didn't want no involvement. He never came, touched the gun, and rightfully so, because you would be a fool to go to that house and go pick up that gun. So then she could blame you and say, you came in here, tried to rob her, woo, shot her. But then you got to explain, it's your gun. How would he have gotten the gun? So there you have it. Pinto, exactly. That's the whole point. Because as I said, if you want to use the baby as the scapegoat, and that's why you hid the gun, then you would have told that story first. You would have told that story first. My baby shot my baby. That's why I took the gun outside. But like I said, they can't arrest a 2-year-old. They can't put a 2-year-old in juvenile. They can't put a 2-year-old in penitentiary. They can't do nothing. They could just charge you with negligence for leaving the gun out for a child to get it. And they probably still would probably charge you too with them drugs. And naturally during interrogation, they're not going to tell you, yeah, we're getting ready to get you for the drug charges. Yeah, we're going to get you for the pills or whatever the hell she had in her house. They're not stupid enough to tell her that because they want her to talk. Because her only preservation was about the drugs. That's all she cared about was the drugs and then the gun. She didn't give a fuck that that baby was dead. And he let her know that. He let her know that. Oh, that's all you care about? It's the drugs? We told you we're not worried about the drugs. You only worried about the gun, but you knew you had a gun in your house and you weren't supposed to have a gun in your house. Then she tells that gun belongs to Ray Ray, and he gave it to me because of my baby daddy problems. So now you got to worry about, is that gun has been used in some other crimes? This chick ain't got no sense. And then she want to sit up here and act like she care about herself. She's worried about being around cops. She's been raped by a cop, but you hustling. So one, you don't care about your kids. So if you want to sell dope by yourself. I tell anybody that. You want to grind alone. You don't grind with your babies in the house. Okay? So you can't say you're afraid of the police, but you're selling illegal, you're selling narcotics. So who you think gonna kick your door in when they arrest you? You think they only gonna have women cops when they come to arrest you? Do you understand what I'm saying? What you gonna tell them? Ding, ding, ding. I got some cops here. They men. I was raped by a cop. Can you send a woman police officer to put the handcuffs on? Ooh, this heifer is dumb. Stupid woman.
Okay, you're right. Okay. I can't do this anymore.
Crazy.
She didn't lie about him and say he did it. They did. She heard one gunshot. Tell us what we're looking at. Heard one gunshot. Well, we think she shot more than once. So they're telling her lies that she knows aren't true. She's a woman suffering from PTSD whose daughter has just been shot. They don't allow.
Tennessee versus Howington. Prosecutors believe Robin Howington fatally shot her 5-year-old daughter, Destiny.
They take her to the hospital. She never sees her daughter again. Her daughter's getting treatment. The truth of the matter is, and I think they'll probably tell us this, her daughter was probably dead in the accident. They tried to revive her. They had no luck. They were in the hospital. They tried a couple more times. They had no luck. They come out and tell them, I'm sorry, your daughter's dead. She was straight from that room being told, your daughter is dead. They drive her to the
This is the defense attorney speaking for her.
10:30, 11 o'clock at night.
Her defense attorney.
She's there for the next 3 or 4 hours being questioned by these guys. For a mother, how is a mother going to be in her right mind?
Thank you for that. Thank you, sweetie.
So she's not in her right mind. They're asking her questions and they're telling her things that aren't true. You know, if you move the showcasing, there should be a showcasing in that house. You're going to hear the showcasing was in the gun channel. They found the showcasing. It was there. We think it's hard. We don't know what even happened there. There should be a bullet there. There's no bullet. It's not on the couch. It's not in her. It was in a cushion on the couch. But they're just telling her stuff because they can't wait. They can't give this grieving mother till the next.
Howington's third story claimed her 2-year-old son accidentally shot Destiny in the chest. When the child was shot, there also was an indentation in the remote, gunshot wound to her hand, and the baby's chest. So was the child holding the remote and had it like, near her chest, cradling, watching TV? Did the girl child try to put her hand up to ward off the gunshot? Which is it? Or she was shot more than once, lying there with the remote, and the person popped her in the hand, and she had the remote in her hand, and then shot her in the chest. Which is it? Right now, the defense in his opening statement is going on and on about the bullet that they didn't find. And this was during interrogation. They kept trying to get down to how many times the baby was shot, why they couldn't find the bullet. Did she pick up the casing? She said no. Okay, they didn't know it was down in the cushion. That's what this defense attorney is trying to say. Like, they were haggling my client at the time, trying to make it seem like she killed her kid and hid the casings. Well, you'll hear the detective come back and tell you, yes, we thought that at the time she hid the casings, but we later found the bullet casing in the sofa cushion. It was, wedged, I guess, down in the cushion. The point is, why are you giving 3 versions? Why are you acting numb, cold-hearted during interrogation? She's cried more during 3 days of trial than she did in the interrogation, okay? Why are you outside hiding a gun? Why are you calling one of your clients to pick up the gun? Why are you asking a woman in the hospital bathroom to take your phone? Why do you dispose of the phone? Who does all this because of what? 3 different versions told. She did all of that because she didn't want nobody to know about the drug sales. She's selling drugs. But this is the same person who's so afraid of the police, so afraid of men police. How are you afraid of men police, but you're selling narcotics? That makes no damn sense. Crazy.
Next day to talk. No. We got to do this right now. 3 o'clock in the morning, we're going to have you sitting in an interview room with 2 male police officers. And if you mention the fact that a police officer raped you, we're going to yell and scream at you. So that's going to help. So the woman who is not in her right mind is taken in there and held 3 to 4 hours being questioned by professional murder investigators. Which means it can't be an accident because professional murder investigators.
Let's go into the belly of the beast and find some more content of her testifying. Thank you for joining me. Did she shoot her daughter? Did Robin shoot her daughter 4.5 years ago? If she did shoot her child, why? What was the motive for killing her 5-year-old daughter? I believe she killed the child because she was the common denominator between she and the baby daddy. She got tired of dealing with the baby daddy. That's what I believe. That's what I think. 1 second, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Hope you all are having a great day. This is a 2-part live pertaining to body parts found in New York. The second part of the live is pertaining to right here in Tennessee. Caucasian female accused of murdering her 5-year-old daughter in September 2019. She's given 3 different versions of what happened. That's the 411. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining me. To get back at Antoine, yeah. I'm trying to find something later story. Hold on 1 second. Yeah. Could be. Could be. I didn't think about that. Get back at him. Get back at him. And or that's a good point. I didn't think about that. I thought of maybe ridding herself of dealing with him because he keeps coming around. He's beating her up. He's cursing her out, calling her nasty names. I don't have this kid. I don't got to listen at that shit no more. I ain't got to worry about him coming around. He ain't got to be banging on my door. I ain't got to worry about him paying child support or this and that. I'm done with it. So you never know. But there's something there's something sinister about this chick because she's cold during interrogation. Hello, Tony. She's very cold, and she's more worried about catching drug charges and gun charges than actually telling these people what happened to her kid. Your kid is the reason you're in the interrogation room. So why are you bullshitting them around with all these fucking different versions? Just tell them the truth so you can get your ass out of there. And I always tell myself, when they give different versions, it's because detectives have brought information to show that what you're saying is not the truth. So now you got to fish out something else. Then that don't work out. You got to fish out something else. If you're telling the truth, you don't need any versions. The truth never needs an explanation. That's street talk, baby. The truth never needs an explanation. What is understood is understood. I'm telling you the 411 I ain't got to tell you nothing else. I ain't got to keep telling you over and over. It's a wrap. They ask her one question, she's blowing like this. Blowing, and I'm looking like, what the hell is wrong with this chick? I said, oh, hell yeah, she lying. Then she got to stand up. Like she getting ready to buck up and do something. They steady asking a question, and she standing up, and I'm looking like, baby, where you going? They're not going to let you out of there. But if you got any sense and you know the law, you can say, well, I've said all I'm going to say. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm getting a lawyer, and I'm out of here. See, she didn't have no type of sense. You knew you killed that kid. You shouldn't be talking to the cops any damn way. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining me. Shouldn't be talking, period. Just end it. End it. Only a fool goes into the interrogation room knowing they murdered their child. That's something a fool does. Nobody with common sense does that. And then you keep changing the story. So what y'all have to remember about a liar, why am I going to believe anything you're saying once you go to version number 2? Now you're on version number 3. And I'm supposed to believe what exactly? And all this crazy talk about being assaulted by a cop, that's just a facade. It may have happened, but what does it have to do with your dead kid?
Day of a trial for a Fountain City mother accused of killing her daughter.
Robin Howington is charged with felony murder and evidence tampering in the 2019 death of her 5-year-old child,
Hello.
Destiny.
10 News reporter Krista Lucas is at the City County building with the latest details for us now. Krista.
Robin, John, the atmosphere in court today has been heavy. You often hear the mother crying. The prosecutor has to prove felony murder beyond reasonable doubt, and all the defense has to do is plant doubt. Now let's go to an earlier video from the day. Today we're hearing from several witnesses who interacted with Howington after the shooting. The prosecutor says Howington again and again changed her story on how the shooting happened. The defense attorney says this was a tragic accident. He calls her a grieving mother who was not in her right mind. The biggest focus today was on Howington's interview with Knoxville Police Department investigators.
Your actions have shown that the only person you're trying to protect is you.
I did not kill my baby. There's no reason.
This thing, I'm gonna tell you something. This thing's gonna get solved, right? Be it you had the gun, Antoine had the gun, Gavin had the gun. If it comes down to you had the gun like this is pointing to, you're gonna look like the most non-caring, self-centered person that has ever come across from my child. This is, I want to believe that, but you have not given us some reasons. You know, this telling people I believe right now, I'm thinking build up on them. Records almost on everybody, except the 2-year.
We also heard today about how she tried to get rid of her phone and the gun used to kill Destiny. After the shooting, she moved the gun outside at a bush. A handyman she texted to retrieve the gun was called to the stand today. He said he refused to go to the house. Now, right now, they're still hearing from the lead KPD investigator. He's testifying on how the mother lied to them when they interviewed her. Again, this case is tough. The jury is called to decide whether this mother is responsible for her child's death. This is all I have for now, but coming up at 6, we'll bring you another update back to you.
All right, Krista, thank you.
All right, everybody, that's Channel 10 News. The testimony from the guy who bought dope from her, the handyman, that was yesterday's testimony. Today's testimony, I believe, is mainly the detectives talking. I have not watched all of it because I've been gone today, but I tried to bring you a recap of today's testimonies in court pertaining to this debacle. Thank you so much for joining me. A lot of nonsense pertaining to this case. Channel 10 News was the source of that information, if you're curious. Hello, Peru. How are you? Thank you, darling. Hey, Nita. How are you? Shout out your baby. Who's your baby? Oh, you want me to shout you out? Hello, Anita. Now, what type of username is that? What, girl? Hello, Korea. How are you? Hello, Kinsley. Thank you all so much for joining me. Trying to bring you an update from today, 22 hours ago, 7 hours ago. I need something like right now. 18 hours. Will the baby daddy testify? Will the boyfriend she had at the time testify? Who's the black guy sitting behind her in court? You see her turning her head a few times, crying and looking at this person. She's just putting on for theatrics. She ain't slick. Because in the end, if you're telling the truth, you don't need to keep telling it 1,000 different ways. That's the whole point. There's no point in keep, you know what I'm saying, going version for version for version. You only tell different versions when you realize the version you just mentioned isn't working in your favor. They're refuting it, the detective, so now you got to come up with something else. Then they come back with something else, and then you got to say, well, okay, that ain't working out. Well, now I got to come up with something else. 3 different people killed your daughter. That leads me to believe you did it. You hiding the gun, hiding your phone, because you did that. Now, many people are going to ask why. That's the burden of the state to prove why she would murder her own child. The defense doesn't have to prove anything. The defense's job is just what you heard in this commentary, to cast reasonable doubt. She made sure to do that with unidentified black man, baby daddy. My son did it. So now 12 members of the jury are going to sit here and be sitting there thinking, well, maybe the 2-year-old did it. Maybe the baby daddy did it. He's beat her up. He's caused her problems. But, well, maybe somebody wanted to get some drugs from her. She gave him some bad drugs. They got mad. They would have shot her, Johnny, on the spot, and they would have robbed her. Number 2, if it was the baby daddy, he would have shot her. What are you going to shoot his kid for? He'd have walked right in that door and shot her. And just like she was trying to explain what the car looked like that left the scene of the unidentified man, version number 1, cops told her then, how can you see that far out? So obviously wherever she was sitting when the baby got shot, it's really not a good view of the door, I guess, to the road to see the car. But this is what happens when you lie. You don't think. You just throw out something trying to make it work. Hello, Ava, thank you. You just throw out something trying to make it work, but it ain't working. This is why you know she's lying. She ought to be ashamed of herself. She's disgusting. Trying to get something from today. Hello from Germany. Hello, hello. Hello, Kristen. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, Kinsley, everybody. Who was this? Genoa? Who was that? Thank you for joining me. 2-part live, everybody. This is some crazy stuff. Maybe 15 hours ago. I think I played some of this already. I played some of this already. Did she kill her kid? If she did, why? If the 2-year-old killed the sister, why not tell that from the beginning? Just saying. I'm trying to get some more information. How long is this video? Hold on, everybody. Mike Whelan is the defense attorney, or Whalen. I want to get the cop talking. Hello, Mariah. How are you? Oh, I wish I was Nathan. I wish I was. What I wish I could do is play the piano. That's what I really wish. That's most of my conversation for today. Is I believe she killed this kid. That's what I think. Too many versions, way too many versions, and there's just really no excuse for changing your version. Oh, okay. All right, Cookie. Yeah, there's no reason to change your version 3 times and you don't have anything to do with the crime. There's just no logical reason to keep changing the version. That's what makes no sense to me. Let me go back. Let me look at something here. Are many of you familiar with this story? Because I got 2 stories in this live stream. More body parts have been found on Long Island. 4 people have been arrested and they have been released on pretrial release, which is jacked up because of this new law in New York. It's pretty bad. Pretty bad. And one of the women, she's homeless. So I doubt she'll even show up to court next time they go back to court. This is from 2019. First published September 27th. And then updated October 17th. This is when the crime first jumped off. A mother accused of tampering evidence in the death of her 5-year-old daughter changed her story multiple times when she spoke to investigators about what happened. According to an affidavit in support of a search warrant, Robin Howington, she was then 36, was arraigned in court on that Friday on charges including tampering with evidence. This is why she's free on bond, because that was her original charge, and then they upgraded it to murder, for those of you who are curious. She was in court for less than 2 minutes in a bonded arraignment that consisted of the judge telling Howington that she needs to get a lawyer. Come back October 17, 2019. Police said Destiny Oliver 5 was shot and killed inside her home on Balsam Drive, September 14th. Howington initially told police she was sitting in the living room with Destiny and her 2-year-old son when an unknown man came into her home and shot Destiny in the chest, then ran away. She stated that an unknown black male suspect enters the home, approaches her with a gun. Howington stated the suspect then points a gun at victim Destiny and shoots her once in the chest. Howington stated the suspect then fled the residence, getting into a black Chrysler 300, then driving away. The document states Howington then later changed her story and said that the girl's father, Antoine Oliver, was the man who came inside and shot Destiny. The investigator lists him as a suspect in the case in addition to Howington. Later in Howington's interview, she changed the story to say that Destiny's father, Antoine Oliver, came to her home and shot Destiny before leaving the scene in a white Chrysler 300. So first it was a black Chrysler. Then it switched to a 300 white Chrysler that the father drives and that the father did it. Okay, she told investigators that Antoine Oliver came over to her home, and that's when an argument ensued. He shot Destiny. In the report, Howington admitted that she and Destiny's father, Antoine Oliver, have a volatile relationship. Records show Howington changed her story a 3rd time and told investigators her 2-year-old, who was also inside the home, climbed into the closet, got the gun, then shot Destiny. Investigators found a Taurus 9mm semi-automatic firearm in a bush just to the right side of her home, the report said. According to officers who viewed the neighbor's video footage of Howington's front porch, you can clearly see Howington walked out of her front door, walked to the side of the home where the firearm was located in an attempt to hide the murder weapon. Okay? She was questioned, and that's when she admitted that her boyfriend had placed it there. So then she puts the boyfriend in it. So we have unidentified black man, boyfriend put the gun out there, baby daddy came and shot his own kid. Then she says her 2-year-old shot the kid. She's grimy. So I'd like to know that guy sitting in court with her. Are you the boyfriend that she was dating years ago? Because if you are, you're a fucking fool. Because she implicated you as putting the damn gun out there. So you're a dumbass if you're sitting in that damn courtroom with her right now. This is crazy to me. So here we go. Let's go back. She says the boyfriend placed it there, okay? I explained to her that we had video of her placing it there, and she changed her story once again. Hamilton stated she was scared to tell the police she had a gun in her home because she believed it was illegal. Well, you know it was illegal if you didn't have a license, dodo bird. She didn't change her story, saying her 2-year-old juvenile climbed in the closet, retrieved the 9mm, top of the closet, used a stool taken from the living room, and shot Destiny in the chest. She did also admit to wiping the firearm down the prints and possible DNA prior to throwing it in the bush. Yeah, because your fingerprints are on the gun. That's why you wipe it down. The report also mentioned an altercation between Howington and Antoine at 502 Balsam, and this is the baby daddy of the 5-year-old who was murdered. The witness they spoke to said on September 14, Howington pulled a gun on Antoine Oliver in the front yard, and Oliver took it away and disarmed it. As far as the cell phone goes, investigators said they believe Howington attempted to destroy her cellular phone because of her involvement of illegal activity, criminal activity in the distribution of controlled narcotics. The phone was wet when investigators received it because Hamilton said she didn't want to incriminate herself because she does sell marijuana, according to the report. She also made mention to the reason the phone was wet because she ran over it in the bathroom. She ran water over it in the bathroom at the UT Medical Center in hopes of destroying it. A witness at the hospital said Hamilton did try to give her phone to her and even offered her money to take it because she didn't want police to have it due to her drug sales. So how can you even say that to a stranger? Hey, take my phone. I sell drugs, and I don't want the police looking at my phone and to find out I sell drugs. And also, my baby was just shot too. Who would tell a stranger all that in a public bathroom? This is crazy to me. This is crazy to me. Say what, Pinto? No way a 2-year-old could shoot a 9mm. I've shot one. Have to hold with both hands. She's full of it. Wonder if they did pew-pew residue on her hand. Yeah, and that's what I'm wondering too. I haven't heard anything about it. Maybe we'll hear that later in testimony. That's why I got to finish watching everything that happened today. Because that's what I'm waiting to hear is the evidence of residue on her hands, residue on the little boy's hands. So we got her in the bathroom trying to give the phone away to some woman, running water over the phone and offering a woman money, okay? Because she didn't want the police to find out she sold drugs. In the document, the investigator said he believes Hamilton is hiding her involvement in her daughter's death and is trying to hide the true identity of who is responsible. So far, no one has been arrested on charge with Destiny's murder. That's at the beginning of the story. Well, as you see, things have changed. Upgrade charge of murder. She's now in court fighting for her life. The court is now out of session this evening. It will resume tomorrow, from my understanding. Please check out any network of your choosing, Law and Crime or Court TV, to watch the trial. I will be bringing you updates pertaining to this trial. But I do believe she killed the kid, and I believe she killed the kids because the child was collateral damage. She wanted to be rid of dealing with the baby daddy. This was her way. And like I said, her taking the kids to a park that was far, far away, bringing them home. I think her mind was in rotation. How can I rid myself of this situation? How can I rid myself of this baby daddy popping around, popping up? Let's get rid of him, kill the kid, and now we're done with the baby daddy. We don't have to worry about it anymore. Anthology says, too many excuses, cover up. Okay. Cookie Crew says she should just do her time. Well, it doesn't work like that, honey. Hello, everybody in the chat. That's bringing you an update from years ago so you can get a better understanding of why she's now on trial for murder. She gave different versions of what happened to her child, and she originally got charged with tampering with evidence and then it got upgraded to murder. So a lot of you have been questioning in videos in the comment section, why is she out on bond for murder? So it's scary. It's very scary. Lots of versions she's given. That's the latest I've got. Oh, Ruby Frankie and Hildebrandt have now been taken to prison. That's my latest update pertaining to those two crazy dimbats. They are now in custody of a correctional facility, if you are curious. Right now, the discussion is of Robin HOWINGTON, accused of killing her daughter, Destiny Oliver, in Knoxville, Tennessee, 2019. She's currently going to trial. And the first part of this live stream is pertaining to more body parts found in New York. 4 people have been arrested. They are now on pretrial release, no bail because of a new law in New York. They believe this was a love triangle. They believe the male, one of the men, killed the girlfriend, killed the lover, dismembered them, and threw them out in the park. They also believe these other people, I guess, have some type of involvement. 3 of the people that were arrested lived in the same house in Amityville, but there's a plumbing issue, so they're not in that house. They can't go back to that house. The 4th person was a 33-year-old male or female that is homeless or was homeless. I don't understand what the hell they're talking about. This is another crazy story. It's like out of control. So it is what it is. That's all I got. I'm going to check out of here. But that's the latest 2-part live today. Long Island, New York. 4 people arrested, out on pretrial release. Ankle monitors. Evidence found at that house in Amityville. Blood is found there. Meat cleavers. Different tools used to dismember human beings. 53-year-old male, 59-year-old woman lived in Yonkers at one time. I think they're working on notifying next of kin. One of them has been identified, but I didn't get a name. If I did, I can't remember. I just talked about so much I can't remember. But go back to the beginning of this live if you want the information pertaining to the people who were arrested. Matter of fact, I'll give you a recap of their names before I check out of here. Hold on one second. Well, Cookie, that's what they're saying. They obviously have evidence to say she killed the kid. They didn't arrest the baby daddy. They didn't arrest the boyfriend. Naturally, you can't arrest a 2-year-old. So that leaves her. And why lie? Why keep changing the story when you could have said that in the beginning? Hey, my kid killed my kid. What's the big deal? I got 2 articles. Hold on one second. Go back to ABC New York. All right. ABC 7 is the source if you need verification. This is a recap for those coming into this live stream late. 4 people arrested in connection with the human remains found scattered across Long Island. They are out on supervised release. Stephen Brown, 44. Jeffrey Mackey, 38. Amanda Wallace, 40. All of Amityville, New York, along with Alexis Neves, 33, who is homeless, were all charged Wednesday with first-degree hindering prosecution, tampering with physical evidence, and concealment of a human corpse. They have not been charged with the killing of the 2 victims, which means they are free.
In connection with those human.
Sorry about that. Jumped off there for a second. Sorry. They have not been charged with the killing of the 2 victims, which means they are free to go until their next court appearance or until they face more charges while authorities gather more evidence. The 4 defendants were arrested after police executed a search warrant at the Amityville home that Wallace, Mackey, Brown share. So 3 people were living together plus this homeless person, okay? They are all out on pretrial release because of this new bail bond law in New York. The prosecutor described evidence at the house, including tools like a meat cleaver, traces of human remains, but did not say who killed or dismembered two victims or why. Why were they killed? Who all helped? Who all had knowledge that they died? Were the victims killed at the Amityville house? The victims who were killed, where did they actually stay? Yonkers or somewhere in Suffolk County? Where did they live? Or were they all living in the house and there was a dispute? What? Because my understanding, it's a man killing an ex-girlfriend and her new lover. So how would they have gotten them over to their house in Amityville to kill them? Those are the questions I asked during this live stream. The charges come after more body parts were discovered on Tuesday, including the Bethpage State Park. They now have human remains discovered in 3 different locations across Suffolk County. Police said they belonged to a 53-year-old man and a 59-year-old woman. The district attorney of Suffolk County says they're blaming the state for this new bail reform laws. So there we have it, just skimming over everything. He's calling for the laws to change. Lawyers for the suspects say they look forward to hearing from the witnesses and seeing evidence. Mackey's defense attorney, John Harvison, said, "We are entering a plea of not guilty. We have not received any discovery at this point. We maintain our innocence." Brown's attorney, Ira Weissman, said Stephen Brown didn't kill anybody. You hear him talk about blood in a house, but you don't hear about witnesses. So that's all I gather about today's proceeding, says Mr. Weissman. The 2 victims may have lived together in Yonkers, and their deaths might stem from a domestic dispute. Police have not publicly identified the victims, and their relationship to the suspects is still a mystery. None of this makes any sense. I don't know what the hell's going on. Let me go in here one more time just to see if their names have been mentioned before I end this live stream, and then we'll go from there. Thank you all so much for joining me. Oh, that's not what I want. One second, everybody. Let's see if they got us an update on the victims. Okay. Suffolk County is kind of rough. It's bad enough they got that mess going on with Rex Heuermann. Now you've got this case here. Let's see what the Daily Mail has to say about the victims. Hopefully we can get an understanding. The victims' names released. Maybe they can't find relatives just yet. I don't know. Still unknown. Yeah, the victim's still unknown. Stephen Brown, 44, Jeffrey Mackey, 38, and Amanda Wallace, 40, and Alexis Nieves, 33. Those are the people arrested after arms heads were found in Babylon Park on Tuesday. They're all charged with first-degree hindering prosecution, tampering with physical evidence, concealing, destroying, concealment of a human corpse. It's unclear if police think any of the 4 are directly involved in the deaths of victims, an unnamed 53-year-old man and 59-year-old woman from Yonkers. Wow, wow, wow. Is these pictures of these women? Let me see. Yeah, we got a picture of the one lady who's homeless, the 33-year-old. Let's have a look at her. Hold on one second, everybody. Sorry about that. I was moving too fast. Kind of slippery about that. Forgive me. All right. This is the woman who's homeless. Sorry about that. Make me understand what in the hell's going on here. Excuse me, everybody. I'm trying to get situated. This is, I thought they said it was a woman. So then another article said it was a man. I thought, when did we name guys Alexis? Alexis Nieves, 33, leaves court in Suffolk County, Long Island on Wednesday, which is today. Here's the other suspect. Oh, great. Got an ugly look on his face. Who's this guy? I'm glad I tuned into this before I went off. Jeffrey Mackey, 38, was one of the men charged. The motive and his involvement in the grisly murder remains unknown. So this is suspect number 2. The lady who I just showed you, Alexis, she's homeless and allegedly 33. Is she Hispanic? Who is she? What is her nationality? This guy appears Caucasian. He's got a weird look on his face, which is kind of like, so what? Look at this joker. White, Hispanic, what is he? Biracial, what? Bigger guy. Stephen Brown, 44, leaves court in Suffolk County Wednesday. Number 3. Suspect number 3. Okay. Let's go up to suspect number 4. This is a girlfriend or woman of one of these guys, perhaps. Bad hair, dye job. Look like she's got on pajamas. She doesn't show her face. This must be Miss Wallace. Hold on. Amanda Wallace, 40, covers her face as she leaves court Wednesday. Well. How about this? Interesting. There we go. New York. Amityville, New York is where the 3 were living with each other. And the homeless lady was staying there with them. Let's go back up. Oh, let's see what else they have to say by Daily Mail. Then I go back on their pictures. Police sources told NBC New York that the brutal killings may have been linked to a love triangle, but further details have not been shared. So see, you really don't know what the fuck happened because let News Nation tell it was an MS-13 bull involvement. And now I don't think this is gang related at all. That's why they should have never said that. And they probably need to put up a retraction. Daily Mail visited the Amityville home shared by Brown, Mackey, and Wallace Wednesday. So 3 people living together, 2 guys and a lady. Half-eaten food, empty Tito's vodka bottle, and an open carton of Minute Maid strawberry and pear juice was visible on the table inside the unkempt property. Oh, good old Tito's vodka. That's what Wendy Williams liked to drink. Well, I can tell you personally, Tito's is not good for the brain or the liver. Because, liquor is liquor, but I've seen a certain person drink Tito's vodka, and trust me, if you don't have any self-control, Tito's is not your best friend. Let me just tell you that. It was raided Monday with food left unfinished inside, suggesting residents had been taken by surprise. The door of the home had also been broken down. Nieves, of no fixed address, is believed to have been homeless. And that's the lady at the top of the page. We'll go back and show you her. One neighbor who lives near the raided property says Wallace was a dog walker and that the house had visitors all hours of the night. So here go our 3 suspects freshly being released from jail. It's a total of 4. They left court together. How convenient. Let's see what this shows here. Let's see. Hope I didn't got any commercials on here. That's the house. It's no volume. This volume's not good. Hello, everybody. Thank you. Hello, Hagen. Thank you, Lolo. Number 25. See where the door's been kicked in? The people cannot stay in this residence, if you did not know. The plumbing is not operable due to investigators going inside of the plumbing fixtures. 4 people were staying in this house. 1 was homeless. That's Miss Alexis, the youngest of the group arrested. 4 people arrested. 3 people lived at this residence. I'm assuming it's an apartment. Daily Mail is the source if you're curious. No, it belongs to the perpetrator. Apartment, I believe. It's another story. So let's go back up to our perpetrators. This is 3 of them leaving court today. These are the 3 that actually live inside of that Amityville house you just saw. Okay? Apartment. They were. Here is the female. She is covered up. Do not know who she is. You can go look her up on Facebook. She probably has a page. In her pajamas. Obviously, that's what she had on when she was arrested. Stay woke. Big boy. Probably the one that was wielding a meat cleaver and an axe up the people. Who is he? Is he the culprit? Are they also culprits? Did they murder these people inside of that Amityville house you just saw? Here is Goofball. I don't know what happened. I was asleep on the couch. Looks stupid as hell. And here is our 4th suspect. All out on pretrial release, supervised release. She's the youngest of the crew. 33 years of age. Alexis. Alexis, what the hell were you doing in this house with these bumps? What happened in that house? How did the victims get to the house? Number 1, what are the relations of the victims to all 4 people? Rumor is this is domesticated love triangle. So what you got to ask yourself, how did the victims get in that house if the woman is an ex-girlfriend of one of these guys? 2 women and 2 men are released without bail after being charged with concealing a corpse. As identities of victims remains unknown. Somebody says they look funky. I can't. God, you all are killing me. Jesus wept. Oh, Lordy, Lordy. We're not interested in what you're talking about. Give it a rest. Well, sweetheart, after listening to the story of Harmony Montgomery, listening to a story of that other little boy whose stepmother or whomever carried him across state lines dead, nothing should shock you. If you don't think of any other story that was the most horrific story of mutilation of human beings, storing of human beings, cutting up body parts and storing them and eating them, think of Jeffrey Dahmer. Nothing, I think, can compare to what Jeffrey Dahmer did back in the early 90s, killing even when he was a minor and nobody even knew about it. That's probably your worst case scenario of cannibalism, torture, cutting up body parts, storing them, and nobody doing anything about it, even when neighbors were complaining about the smell coming from his apartment. So far, he's probably the worst on record as far as eating and storing and dismembering human beings. Was this an issue of domestic? This man was jealous, one of those guys I just showed you, and he wanted to get back at the girlfriend. So how did he kill them? Because I can't sit here and believe you're going to dismember somebody, but you didn't murder them. Here we go. Homeless. What's her take in it? What's her involvement? 33 years of age. One of the guys. Which one is he? Is this the killer? Or is it the big guy? What is he carrying in those plastic bags? Jeffrey Mackey, 38, one of the men that were charged. Here's Big Boy. Big old lump of clay. Stephen Brown, 44. Stephen, are you the one that unalived that lady and her lover? Why? Tell us why. And here is our other little sugarfoot. Bad hair dye. PJs on. All free to walk. Amanda Wallace, 40, covers her face as she leaves court Wednesday, which is today. What happened in that house in Amityville? How did they get the victims? Number one, did they bring the victims there under a guise? Did they kidnap the victims and bring them there? Did the victims go there to show up for some reason? Altercation, want to settle a dispute? How did they get in that house? Did all of these people participate in unaliving them? Did they conceal it after finding out they were unalived there? Were the people unalived in this house? How did it go down? Who cut up the people? Who took the body parts to the parks in different locations? We're now talking about 3 separate places that these people were found. 59-year-old woman, 53-year-old male. Were these people homeless, shelter, had their own place, house, shed, trailer? Because they keep saying at one point they lived in Yonkers. So that leads me to believe detectives are not sure about the victims having a permanent residence. Could be wrong. All 4 people have been arrested and they are free with ankle monitors on. There is a new bail law in New York. So these people are free. No one has been arrested in the murders of the victims. Next of kin are being notified. I will bring you an update on the names of the victims. There we have it. So now, New York officials, voters, you're going to have to go back in and revote, because this is not a good law to have people running around murdering people, chopping up people, and then they can go free. We're not talking about somebody with a first-time offender. You committed check fraud or something, and they put you on pretrial release, credit card theft. I think we're a little deep in the rabbit hole with this group. So there's no way these people should be walking around after dismembering or have knowledge of dismembering 2 victims. I'm sorry. Yeah, New York is something else. So this is bad, because these are the people you don't want around. And this is what I said to you guys, I believe Sunday when I went live. What did I say during that live stream? I said, what if this is not about a gang? This ain't about no Bloods. This ain't about no Crips. This ain't about no MS 13, 18, 16. I said, what if this is some random person who went off on these people, or they overdosed in their house, they were afraid they were going to be implicated, and they cut up the body parts, and they just walked them through these different parks by foot or car and dumped their body parts. I just said this 3 days ago. What if this is not gang related? And I be damned. Here go these random looking people that do not look like they're in gangs. 2 of them at least. I do not think this is gang related. Because one, they're too damn old. And although they've had a lot of gang, I'm sure, violence, crime, which led them to go to News Nation with that piece, but you really shouldn't have put that out there. Because the guy had a tattoo, one of the victims. That's why I asked, was the victim's tattoo gang related? For them to assume this was gang related. Now you're hearing it's possibly a love triangle. So I don't really know what happened. I'm not even going to say what I think happened, because 1, I don't know these 4 people. I don't know what they got going on. I don't know if they got some hanky-panky menage a trois going on with all of them. I don't know the 2 victims. Were they dating, married, just met, homeless, drifters? I don't know. I won't doubt they all probably hung together, knew each other. It's something funky. We'll put it like that. Something real funky went on with all the people involved. A lot of undocumented individuals. We don't know the backgrounds. Could be cartel situation. Well, maybe I'm not going as far as to say anything gang or cartel, because a few of these people appear to be Caucasian. One appears to be Caucasian, and it's not to say Caucasian people don't join gangs, but these people are older. These are not 22-year-olds. They're not even 30. They're past that age. This is something else, I believe. This is totally something else. This could be an issue. As they said, domesticated. Guy got mad at the girlfriend. He lived with these people. He probably told them about what happened. He got them involved. They stupidly got involved, because you do have people who ride or die for their friends, even at 40, 50 years of age. People will cover for other people. It's not a myth that it only applies to young people. People have been covering for people for centuries. Mothers will cover for their children, grown children. People will cover for their brothers, sisters. Because the youngest person in the group is 33, and that's the lady at the top. So why is this 33-year-old hanging with these other older people? Okay, this guy here, probably the ringleader, he's 44, Steven. So he's not Hispanic. Mackie, 38. That's a white man's name. It's not Hispanic. Okay, stay woke. This is the one that's foreign. Alexis, homeless. She's probably Hispanic. Then you go down here to this lady here, Wallace. Those are all American names, except for the lady at the top, who's the youngest and was homeless. These are American people. It's no cartel. I'm not putting that on the cartel. That's why you can't listen to all that shit the news puts out, because they should have never said that this could have been MS-13. This looks like some ghetto ratchet, poor trash, fentanyl, Haron nonsense. Because lately everything's related to drugs. And it doesn't necessarily mean gang related. People get high every day. All walks of life uses drugs. So this could be God knows what. Could be a love affair went bad, menage a trois, some swapping, sharing. Somebody's mad, somebody moved on. Now we're following them. We're kidnapping them. Who the hell knows? They could have been drunk, got mad. Hey, man, come on, help me, carry these bodies in and get rid of them. I mean, people do all type of crazy stuff. I don't put nothing past anybody. Yeah, right, Jamie. There is like 49 people on here. Yeah, sure is. God is good. Anthology drugs. Well, as of late, most stories are drug-related. True. Even when it does not involve gangs, thugs, just a lot of people like to use drugs. Drunk and high, yes. That's exactly what I was thinking. Who's to say he was venting, upset. He's sitting around with these two nimwits, and he says, I'm going to go get her. I'm going to go get revenge on her, and blah, blah, blah. And he found that wherever they were staying, and he went over there and murdered them. And then he called these people, hey, come help me. I need to tote them out the house. Now imagine that. They went and murdered these people somewhere else. They went and murdered them where they live. And then they carried them back over to the house where they live and hacked them up and then dumped their bodies in all these damn parks. See, we don't really know how it went, because what doesn't make any sense, if the law is suspecting one of these guys was upset at an ex-girlfriend, then how did they get their bodies to their Amityville home? Because Amityville and Yonkers are not in the same location, last I checked. So matter of fact, let's do some Googling, then I'm going to check out of here. Thank you for joining me, everybody. 2-part live. Amityville. Okay, where's my microphone? Let's see what we got here. How far is Amityville, New York to Yonkers, New York?
If you drive, Yonkers is 46.7 miles away from Amityville.
Well, there we have it. 1 hour and 10 minutes by car, 46.7 miles, Northern State Park. So what are we talking about here? Jaime, come on now. What are we talking about here? 1 hour? You went and drove 1 hour to get these people? How'd you get them? So see, something's not adding up because the article is saying, one of the articles I read says, they don't know when the victims last lived in Yonkers, but obviously an address is linked to both victims at one point. So where did they actually live, the victims? If they lived in Yonkers, how did they get to Amityville to be dismembered? Say, whoa. Thank you, John Connor. Yeah, Jaime, I see you showing out. Stop that now. Seriously, though, if these two people lived in Yonkers or somewhere else, I don't know, how would they have gotten to Amityville? Train, plane, what? And how did they get to the guy who's allegedly a boyfriend of the victim, ex-boyfriend of the victim? I'm not going to go walk over or ride a train or car to my ex-boyfriend with my lover. Why would I do that? 2 cases, sweetheart. New York, body parts, Long Island. 4 have been arrested. They're now free. And then the second part of this live is pertaining to Robin HOWINGTON, a Caucasian female who murdered her daughter back in September 2019. She's on trial for murdering her child. It's a 2-part live. Where did the victims stay? If they lived in Yonkers, how did they get to Amityville? Why would one of them even go to an ex-person's house, home, restaurant to be murdered unalive? Did the people who got arrested for abuse of corpse murder the 2 victims? Most of you are going to probably think, hell yeah, they did it. Why would you be charged if you didn't kill them? This is crazy. You're welcome. Did the 3 people that got arrested, the 4, excuse me, he's saying 3, 4 people arrested, did they unalive the man and woman? If so, why? Did they all participate in the murder? Or they just have knowledge of the bodies and help dismember the bodies to help out the friend? And which guy did the killing? The big guy or the small one? Because they all appear to be Caucasian people except for Miss Reyes. Well, not Reyes, but see, you got me saying your last name. See, Jaime, you shouldn't be in here talking. I'm calling out the suspect your name. But this is scary. This is very scary. I want to thank you all for joining me. I'm going to put up some polls after this commentary. Please go to my community page to take the polls pertaining to the 2 subjects in this live stream. There's another content I wanted to bring you all pertaining to this crazy story I found on Newsbreak. I might come back on a little later with a quick live to talk about relationships and how far a relative will go to keep you from marrying the one you love. Wow, it's a wicked story. Lord have mercy, it's wicked. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $sign McAngie, 129 Cash App, Signature Chats, always welcome during the live stream. Thank you for tuning in. 2-part live. Go back to the beginning of this commentary to get the 411 of the story. Body parts found in Long Island, New York. More body parts found. 4 people arrested. Now free on bond as of today. Excuse me, free on release because there's no bonds. Sorry. And Robin HOWINGTON, Knoxville, Tennessee, has been accused of murdering her 5-year-old daughter back in 2019. She's now currently going to trial. Feel free to check out the information in the U2Q Law and Crime Court TV. They are now broadcasting this trial. Trial will resume tomorrow. I'll be back with more information and an update pertaining to trial. And I also give you an update when the victims' names have been released to the public, those who were dismembered in New York. Thank you, sweetheart. Cat Stevens, what? Oh my God. All right, everybody. And once again, Ruby Franke and Jody Hildebrandt are now currently in the custody of corrections. They're no longer in jail. They're now in prison for the torture, kidnapping of Ruby Frankie's 2 children. That's an update. And of course, the Alec Baldwin trial is on the docket. I've not been following that. Can't keep up with all these stories. And there's also new information about that DeSoto case down in Florida. I'm not following that either, but there's something hanky-panky with that mother. They do not believe her story is adding up. And her boyfriend, I do believe, has been arrested in the murder of her girl child. Ain't no telling what jumped off there. Probably something nefarious as usual, because it always is pertaining to children. That's why I say, if you see something, say something. Be a part of the solution and not the problem. Mind the children. They are our future. And this abuse of children and unaliving of children has to stop. You don't want kids, don't have them. You don't want to be a parent or guardian, don't parent or guardian. Don't even babysit. Because there's no reason to be abusing kids and unaliving children. It's ridiculous. And it's got to stop. And it goes the same for dealing with adults. Relationships not working out, bow out, run like hell. Change your phone number. Hell, if you got to change your address, do what you got to do. Because violence isn't the key, and we're all human. But there comes a point when you have to say to yourself, this isn't working out. This is a favor. This person doesn't mean me any good. Whether it's a friend, a lover, a husband, bow out. Because you just might save your life. Thank you for joining me. You've been listening to The Vault XL.